Just want to ask you a couple of questions, just, updates with the sales market. I see you've just written a new sales market update. So I just had a few questions that I just wanted to ask you, and then you could probably, answer and address the public. My first question is with the non-Bermudian spouses and the licenses that Bermudians have to get. Do you see this licensing rule ever changing, to make a smoother process for persons to, purchase homes?
Well, the Real Estate Division of the Chamber of Commerce recently this week had a meeting with Minister Parent-Chief along with the Secretary of the National Security, Mark Telemack, and they were very receptive to our comments about this, because our belief is Bermudians with non-Bermudian spouses should be able to own more than one property, and that the process is a long and drawn-out process, which they are of the opinion should be a shorter process as well if it's going to continue. So there is some hope there that they will be looking at this in the near future and getting back to us.
Okay. My second question for you is, I guess it's just dealing with, maybe the economy and obviously real estate involved. And, are we seeing any signs of recovery, any possible signs of recovery?
We are, but it's difficult to tell for sure because real estate is cyclical. So different times of the year it will be busier than other times of the year. Right now we are experiencing a busy time of year. We are seeing multiple transactions, much higher than we have in the recent months prior to this time period, and it's probably reminiscing to the transaction figures that we were seeing back in 2009, because 2010 was a rather difficult year. So we are seeing some glimmers of hope, and we'll just see what the future has to offer.
Okay. My last, and I guess not so much my last question, but just dealing with housing and housing prices, just want to know how significantly have housing prices dropped, and are there actually any deals for persons who are looking to purchase houses? Are there any deals to be had?
I think anybody who's been watching the market over the last few years have realized that the prices have come down quite significantly. It depends on what segment of the market that you're looking at. We've always had quite a large supply of condos over the last 4 to 5 years. So naturally, supply and demand, when you have a larger supply, the demand is not so much there. So we have seen a tremendous decrease in property values in the condo market. So where you used to be able to get let's take a manor house for example. Manor house units were selling between, say, $675 to maybe $750. We've just had a manor house recently sell for $550. So that you're looking at, what, $200,000? In addition to that, if you're a first-time buyer, you would not be paying the stamp duties, and also with that, you will be paying less, paying back the bank as far as interest rates are concerned. So when you total it all together, you're looking at the lifetime of the mortgage saving probably about $400,000.
Okay.
So we do have those areas. We are also seeing that people who have owned property, particularly the middle end of the road, are looking at possibly moving up, and they're seeing that the values of the higher end properties have been reduced as well. And even though they will get less for their property, it makes the in-between segment a little bit easier for them, because they're paying far less for properties that maybe went for, in upwards of $2.5 million. A couple years ago, they might be getting them closer to the $2 million range.
Okay.
So it depends, and we are seeing some fixer-uppers coming onto the market, which we haven't seen for a number of years. So people who are looking for that area, you can get some fixer-upper properties between maybe $550 and $750. And that's usually a cottage that sits on its own, or a cottage with an apartment.
Okay. So I guess kind of tagging along with that last question, I guess, which segments, I guess, of the market are like offering these opportunities? Would you say, I guess, the condo?
Well, obviously condos, and there again, if you look at the condo market, we have had a number of new units come on the market in the last 5 years. Now, they may not have softened up quite as much as the older condos, so you can get an older condo and invest your money into those units. We have some Cavendish units, 2-bedroom Cavendish right now. One of them is down to $390, and that's nearly unheard of. You know, a few years ago you were looking at paying $575 or more for them. We have Lily Park units in the threes. You know, there's some Rockaway units, 3-bedroom Rockaways, you know, around $500,000. So yeah, I think you need to look around and see. There are great opportunities. It just depends on what you're looking at. Bearing in mind that the banks will require a minimum 15% deposit.
Okay. And you can still find other deals, in, I guess, if you have your ear to the ground in the other segments, you know.
Yeah, there prices in general have come down all across the board. It's just that because we have had such a large number of condos over the years, that segment, of course, is going to see the largest decrease. And that's great for Bermudians. It's fabulous for Bermudians. You know, chances are that we're looking at towards the bottom, hopefully, at this point. And if that's where we are, then prices can only stay the same or go up. And if people wait, you know, in 4 or 5 years, they're not going to have these opportunities that they currently have.